I graduated from the University of Minnesota in 1967 with a degree in home ec education and knew I didn't want to teach junior high school kids home ec stuff. And I had a somewhat dysfunctional family, so I joined the Women's Army Corps in February 1968 and went from St. Paul to Anniston, Alabama for training, and it was quite a cultural shock because in Anniston there were still signs saying colored and white over the drinking fountains, not on the post but in the town itself. So that was reality check. So I was there for a year as a platoon officer, and then I had 2 years in Germany and traveled around a lot, and then a year in Maryland as an admin officer, and then got out in April of '72. And then the Women's Army Corps disbanded in 1974, so there aren't too many WACs, I think, around anymore. I was a platoon officer at Fort McClellan, so I trained troops, women who came in for service. And then in Germany, I opened a WAC detachment. My troops at that time had been traveling from another German city, and the senior officers wanted them on the post. They were financial service workers, and so I helped build wall lockers and start barracks from scratch. Wall lockers, getting all of the paperwork and regulations and stuff like that. And then I traveled quite a bit. I used every bit of my vacation time and 3-day pass opportunities, and then I had a year in Maryland before I got out. I love the camaraderie, working with women, and when I think back to being at 24 years old and being responsible for these 30 other people, I had, at one point, I had to tell a woman that her sister had died in a car accident over here. She was in Germany, and so just the trauma of that, of her having to get back to the States, but we had some really good times. And I still have several friends from the service that I'm still in touch with, which means a lot to me. I love to march, and that at Fort McClellan I was also the executive officer of the training company, and that meant that once in a while I would be able to lead our 200 troops from Company D when we had the graduation parade, and my voice carries well, so to call out forward, march, and then have these women start coming behind me and making our way around the parade field. I love that, and I always felt very proud to wear my uniform, and I was in that era when we came home and nobody said thank you for your service, and that has now in these past few years changed dramatically, and I still feel very proud that I was able to serve, and very grateful for my benefits from the GI Bill. I went back to graduate school at Mankato State, got a master's in art history. From there, I decided to go to seminary. I had one more year of GI Bill left, and then Congress passed an extension for people in graduate school. So I had 6 years of graduate education, no student loans, and then a few years ago I became active in the VA for medical care, and in May I got a new knee, and the VA here is spectacular and has provided amazing care for various things that in my aging years are catching up with me. So I think my situation was very fortunate compared to others. And I'm going to have my other knee done in hopefully November. And then when that heals, I plan to be a volunteer at the VA. And I think as a pastor and a veteran and a woman, that it would be really satisfying duty for me.